Whoa, is that how I think it is? Hey, it's nice to see you. It's definitely been a while since you were in my class. In fact, didn't you graduate last year? Hey, good for you. Well, I don't know if you're busy or anything. Obviously, just running into each other out of the blue doesn't indicate whether or not your schedule is clear, but if you wanted, we could grab some coffee, catch up a little bit. Unless it's weird to hang out with your old teacher. Oh, I'm glad to hear it. Come on then, I know a really great place nearby. So, what have you been up to for the past, what's it been now? 3 years? Is that so? Well, I've always expected great things from, all of my students, but I had a feeling that you'd get out there and make a good life for yourself, So, it does seem like you're on the path to greatness. I don't know if that's too cheesy for me to say. I don't want to sound like I'm your mom or something. Just think of me as a friend. After all, we're both adults here. No reason to have an awkward rapport. Anyway, as you can imagine, I'm still doing my job, just teaching. And it's going well. It's been an interesting year so far. And of course I love my students. But now and then I think about my old classes, people who've moved on. And, I found my mind drifting back to you in particular. Is that kind of weird? I don't know. Well, whatever it is, I'm glad that we ran into each other. Seems like a weird stroke of fate. What have I been up to? You mean like in my personal life? Not much, really. Just stuck being a bachelorette in my one-bedroom apartment. Nothing's really changed, but I'm not complaining. I've lived like this long enough that I know what makes me happy and what doesn't, so obviously I'd like to consider getting married, starting a family, all that stuff, but at the same time, I'm spending a lot of my days working on self-improvement, which is something I advocate very highly for pretty much anyone of any age, which is why it's so nice to be a teacher, because you can instill those lessons in people when they're young, instead of waiting for them to be in their mid-40s before they actually start changing and growing. You were always pretty mature, though. I never found myself having to take you aside and tell you to grow up, Yeah, no, I'm serious. You've always been a mature kid. And, well, you're no kid anymore. So, I don't mean to be condescending or anything. I really respect you as an adult. It's nice to see that you've grown into yourself. And I hope you're doing well in general. Is there anything that you've gone through recently that makes you want to, I don't know, have someone to confide in? I like to pride myself on being a good listener. And when it comes to someone like you, I like getting to, know about your life. Be there for you. And again, I really don't mean to be condescending or to sound like I'm trying to be your mother. I genuinely am just interested in you as a person. The truth is, a lot of my students, well, when they're not adults yet, I always wonder who they're going to turn into. And then, moments like this where I run into them, I just want to get to know them better. So, Maybe it's a weird thing for me to ask, but how's your life been lately? What have you been doing? What's your favorite hobby? Favorite genre of music? You've always been a very unique person. I wonder what your perspective is on a lot of things, actually. Especially now that you're out in the world. When I think about how you look back in high school, I'm not sure I would have expected you to turn into, well, who you are now. That's not a bad thing, though. Don't get me wrong. In fact, you're looking really good. You should give me some advice on how to get in shape. I'm starting to get a bit of a flab here and there, you know? That's what happens when you get older. I hope I don't seem like an old lady to you. Aw, you're a sweetie. You're just saying that to butter me up. You know I'm not grading your papers anymore, right? You don't have to lie to make me happy. Oh, no, stop it. Well, I'm going to just assume that you're serious then, and you actually think that I look kind of nice. Maybe a bit more of a personal question, but are you seeing anyone right now? Is that so? I would have for sure thought that you had someone in your life, but, I mean, if you ever wanted to, go get drinks sometime? Is that weird for me to ask? I'm not just some cougar, you know. You do actually seem like a really interesting person. And I'd like to get to know you better. One adult to another. I'm not your teacher anymore, and you're not my student, so why would I pretend I don't find you kind of interesting? Awesome. It's a date then. Oh, give me your phone, I'll give you my number. And you better not save me as Mrs. Lancaster in your contacts. You do know my first name, right? Good. It'd be kind of awkward for you to refer to me exclusively by my last name. You know what? Let's have a more official introduction. Hi, I'm Amelia Lancaster, and it's nice to meet you. What's your name? There. Now it's like we're just two brand new friends meeting for the first time. None of that awkward school dynamic. I can imagine that my connection to your high school probably isn't all that appealing. Most kids who I talk to after graduation say that they're surprised that other people call high school the best years of your life, and often tell me that they don't want to think about it ever again. So I don't blame you. Though I hope that I wasn't an unpleasant part of your experience. That's good to hear. You know, between shopping for my niece's birthday, getting groceries every few weeks, living off of cup noodle, it's really not feeling like I'm a working full-time adult. It's almost like I'm still in college sometimes. Struggling to balance my budget while also having to teach kids about finances makes me feel a little awkward. Well, Hopefully, after the school board meeting next week, there will be discussions for pay raises, but you never know. Sorry to bring that office politics to our nice casual, no school allowed kind of meal. Must be weird to think about, I guess. How does it feel to run into your high school teacher and have her, I don't know, hit on you? Yeah, that's about what I expected. But still, you're far too nice to me. I really feel like I gotta remind you that you don't need to suck up to me for any reason. That's one thing that's super awkward about being a teacher. Sometimes I actually want to form friendships with my students, so that they know they can rely on me and come to me if they need help. But when I talk to them, sometimes it feels like they have to censor their thoughts and feelings because they're afraid I'll grade them worse or put it in their report card or something. I genuinely just want to be a good role model and mentor. And I want to have lasting relationships where once they graduate, they come back and say hi and we can catch up like this over a cup of coffee. Just be civil. Two people talking. I genuinely care about all my students. Some more than others, obviously, but I want them to know that they're each individuals to me. Did I get that message across when you were in my class? Yeah? You really felt like I was approachable? Aw. I can't tell you how happy that makes me feel. I really worry sometimes that something will be going on with one of my students that they can't talk to anyone about, and I'll be just as helpless as everyone else, watching them become more and more miserable or isolated. I've been there myself, so I just want to be someone that people can turn to. That being said, I did notice when you were younger that you did seem to be a bit, well, distracted sometimes. And I wondered if there was something going on with you, but I didn't want to pry. Yeah, mental health is one of those things that, even for the most sane person, high school can really weigh on you. At least you're out, right? Some people take a lot longer to graduate than others, especially with the way the school system is. I may be forced to adhere to a curriculum and all that, but that doesn't mean I'm not critical of the system. Honestly, I wish I could change so much about the way we work. I think mental health should be prioritized above pretty much everything else. So kids like you don't have to feel like they need to hide how they're feeling. I'm glad you're here today, continually growing and changing. You may not think that people notice when you make improvements to yourself, but it shows. It really does. And maybe it's weird for me to say this, but I am proud of you. Anyway, not to derail our conversation, but back to the idea of meeting over drinks. Are you free Friday night? Sweet. I hope to see you there. And remember, don't you dare slip up and call me Mrs. Lancaster. I will just walk out. I'm kidding. I'll give you a little leeway. But remember, if I treat you like an adult and a human separate from school, you gotta do the same for me. Or else it feels just a little creepy. I am really glad I ran into you today. And I'm glad we were able to have this conversation. Sit down over a cup of coffee and just chat. The world can be pretty lonely sometimes, even when you're surrounded by people. So, hopefully you and I are able to understand each other. You know what I mean? Anyway, I ought to get back to shopping. My niece's present isn't going to pay for itself. And I don't know whatever it is you were up to, but good luck, alright? And call me, okay?